I want to make running easier for you. Look, I know running can be really hard. It's just challenging to stay on almost every day, to get in those long runs and those workouts, and to be consistent with them from week after week. So what I want to do in this video is talk about a 1-2 punch to help make running feel a little bit more manageable. I want you to feel better on most of your runs, so that you're just having more fun with your training. Because if you're having more fun, if things feel manageable, you're gonna be much more likely to train hard and much more likely to reach your goals. All right, we're gonna help you feel better on almost every run that you go on. And this 2-part framework starts way before you even start running. So put your running clothes on, get ready for the run, maybe put your shoes on. First part here is a dynamic warm-up. Now, hopefully you are doing some form of dynamic warm-up before you head out for that run, because a dynamic warm-up is going to jumpstart the process before you even start running so that your metabolism is much more online. You know, you are going to prime your nervous system for running. You are going to expand your blood capillaries, especially in your extremities, lubricate your joints. You're going to increase your heart rate and respiration and improve your range of motion. A dynamic warm-up does a lot. And if you do that before you go running, you're going to feel a lot better. Now, the key here, let's not reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do a different dynamic warm-up every day. We don't need to cobble together our own exercises. One of the more efficient ways of doing this is just copying a dynamic warm-up routine that has already been used. And so what I'm gonna do is put in this video the standard warm-up routine. It's a warm-up routine that I developed probably about 14 years ago when I was coming back from my very long injury after the New York City Marathon, and I knew that something had to change in my running. I knew that I needed to develop more resilience, and this was one small part of that project. So it's about a 10-minute routine. You can do this almost anywhere. You can do it in your apartment. You can do it in your front lawn before you go running. You can do it almost anywhere. Now, the key is, let's be consistent with it, because not only are you gonna help yourself feel better in that first mile of running because you're more warmed up, but you're also going to develop a little bit more strength, a little bit more coordination and movement fluency, a little more athleticism, so that you can just become a better runner. You are definitely going to become a better runner if you develop some of these skills even more. So let's get consistent with it. And now here's the standard warm-up. A big thanks to our brand partner Beam for supporting our YouTube channel. Their Dream product is amazing. It is my favorite sleep supplement out there, and that's because it only has 3 milligrams of melatonin. I tend to get pretty groggy if I take a lot of melatonin, especially 5 milligrams, and I hate that. So I love Dream because it tastes amazing. Their cinnamon cocoa flavor is to die for, but it doesn't have as much melatonin in it as some other products out there. And the L-theanine and the magnesium do wonders at promoting relaxation and helping you stay asleep and get that deep sleep that you really need. So if you're someone who struggles getting to sleep, staying asleep, or if you're like me, tonight, I actually have to go to bed at 8 p.m. because I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning for a 27-mile hike tomorrow. So I need to go to sleep early and get that good sleep. Dream is helping me out. And they're actually offering up to 40% off. 40% if you get a subscription, 25% if you just want to try it for a single purchase. If you go to shopbeam.com/strength and use code STRENGTH for that discount. Big thank you to Dream for sponsoring the channel. Go shopbeam.com/strength. Get your Dream, get your sleep optimized, and take advantage of the #1 recovery tool that us runners have, is a good night's sleep. All right, the last thing that we're gonna do after that dynamic warm-up is we're gonna make sure the first mile or 2 kilometers or so of our run is the slowest part of our run. So we're essentially gonna use the beginning of our easy run or long run or the warm-up before your workout, no matter what day of training it might be. It's typically a very good idea to make sure that the beginning of your run is the slowest. And so if we were to graph, the overall intensity or pace of any run, a lot of the times it should look like a bell curve. You're ramping up to your total, your max work volume, or in other words, your max intensity. And then maybe there's a cool down. Now, of course, there's not a cool down after easy running, so it's not always gonna look like a bell curve. Especially after a workout, it will look like a bell curve. But if we really embrace this idea of let's make sure our first mile or so is the slowest of our run, we're really going to help our body warm up into our run. And this suggestion is really born out of my coaching practice. A lot of runners that I work with over the last 10 or 15 years, when they send me their training and I'm looking over how they're executing their runs, a big issue that I note is that a lot of runners, they start fast and there's a gradual fade over the course of the run. And I think that's the opposite way that we should be doing things. Even if the pacing was exactly the same, but just flipped and done inversely, we're going to get a lot more out of this run. And at a minimum, it's just gonna make us feel better. If we can start a run a little easier, and then we can run a little bit faster once we're fully warmed up, once we are fully primed and our aerobic system is fully online, it's gonna be easier for us to run a little bit faster. So if you've been struggling a little bit with just not feeling great on your runs, maybe you're feeling tight, maybe you're feeling like you never get warmed up, or that your heart rate spikes really early in a run, I want you to implement these 2 strategies. Do that dynamic warm-up before you start running. It's really gonna wake your body up and get you primed for that run. And then let's make sure the first mile or so is just easier. It should be a gradual negative split at the same effort while your body is getting used to the pace and is warming up. So this is a really effective strategy if you haven't been feeling good. So if that's you, I hope this video is helpful. Put some of these constraints around your running. Like, okay, I'm always gonna do a dynamic warm-up. I'm always gonna start slow. And you're also always gonna be feeling pretty good.